lot of weird shit's been going on. Oh, today I feel extremely nauseous, and you know, it's a lot of weird shit. But anyways, with that being said, remember how I've been talking about how Kanye West got removed from his body? I ain't gonna lie when I tell y'all this too, man. I felt like a major fucking loss of consciousness from some manipulative ass evil people. I got the fucking Illuminati or some shit. Like some real high level shit. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I was also finally able to get back on my Facebook. But anyways, remember how I talked about how the man got soul swapped? To make a long story short, the man was able to get back in his body. And I'll show you evidence of that.
And by the way, we're not black. How about that? We're not black, nigga. We're Indian.
Do you take back any of the anti-Semitic stuff you might have said?
Black people can't be anti-Semitic. We are Jew. You understand what I'm saying? We are Jew. So cool out until you do your facts. Until you really do the facts with the fake indoctrination that y'all pull into the schools and all that. You know what I'm saying? We're not following y'all rules.
I mean, just like calling death con on Jews and that's like, do you take back any of that sort of more extreme stuff?
You know what? For all the kids that love me, all the Jewish kids that love me, I'm sorry if y'all had to hear a grown-up conversation with us screaming at each other. But we got to a point where something needed to happen. Something needed to be said. Somebody needed to say something. Now, if you're in an argument with somebody, you're not going to say everything the right way. But it got to a point where y'all ain't going to just keep running, start calling me bizarre and impressed for all these years. I got to a point, how many more times y'all going to call me crazy? How many more times y'all going to give me fake medication that makes me fat off of a misdiagnosis when I really have slight signs of autism from the car accident? But then y'all gave me, you say, whatever, just give them that bipolar medication. Y'all try to kill the superheroes. But we here, we alive.
He was speaking exactly how he used to, speaking truths and talking deep. It wasn't fake. It wasn't like forced or evinced. It wasn't like a mockery of somebody talking deep. It was someone really actually talking deep. When he was saying, and I know this for a fact as well, there was actually a transcript, an interview that was done with a guy by the name of John Lerner a long time ago called Tricked by the Light, where he met God. And he said that God is exactly how they describe him to be, black, but he has bronze skin. Bronze is, here, I'll show you the transcript, which is exactly how, from what I learned during this curse, some of the ancient Cometians or Egyptians, such as Cleopatra, had, I think, blondish like hair. Some people had pink eyes and some people had eyes of gold. It goes really, really deep. I feel like I'm being monitored right now. So, again, just pray for me, send good vibes my way. There's frequencies that you can use to break barriers that I'm probably going to put at the front of this video. Because, like I said, in one video I have been yearning to do, I have no spirit team. Like, everything is just, it's on the Baron Samedi, who, going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, from what I'm understanding, was instrumental in throwing my ass out, along with Satan, which is, a really big debilitating shock to me. Because I actually was a big fan of his in the past and really looked up to him. I got some evil motherfuckers fucking with somebody right now. It's like I can literally feel these spirits, like entities moving around what should be within and fucking with me royally. And fucking with me bad every time I try to deliver truths and, intimidate me into silence. And there's frequencies you can use if you get killed off in the spirit world to revive yourself. There was one for the physical, I forgot what it was, but one's for the spirit plane. It's 3571 hertz as well as 3715. I think it's 3517 hertz and then 3571 hertz. And those could be used to revive yourself and get yourself back. If you want to get your consciousness back, 1331, think of LEET. Like back in the day on the days of the early internet, like on Encyclopedia Dramatica, hey, and a bunch of, other ones you had. They used to talk about LEET, and the computer code for that was 1331. The code to get knowledge is 322, which is why it's favored by the Illuminati. Really, really big time, and the code to defeat them is 1248 hertz. So with that being said, from what I'm understanding, when I talked about it, a lot of people were able to gauge where he was in the spirit plane, where he really was, because that was actually, in fact, a highly intelligent reptilian entity attachment or roach attachment, which are more intelligent than entity attachments that was in his body. And it was, getting a lot of his shit. He was being energy astral body harvested just like I am. And having all his shit given to these people, to this entity that was in his body, just like is the case with me with that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. From what I'm gathering, they removed it from my body. It's weird shit. Use 925 hertz. There's the one that's the code for the universe that Tesla talked about, 369. They used to talk about in those videos, your boy, the Yin Yang twins. Think about it, Yin Yang twins, duality. 369, damn straight fine. Give it to me one more time. 369 hertz. There's also 963 hertz, which is the code for God. 968 hertz if you want to bring something back to what it was previously, as well as 544 hertz. But I'm trying to think. There's one at 694 hertz that can help you also see what's going on spiritually, and it's damn accurate. So it's a very good frequency to use. That's why in computer coding they say that numbers are a language. And it's true. Now, with that being said, from what I understand, after that, the fervor died down. The Illuminati caught a hold of that man. They had him placed in the roach realm, and at one point, the real roach realm spiritually. There was some weird shit. I plan on posting the video soon. The same thing with Zendaya, the hospital visit. But in her case, like I said, all throughout this curse, I'm seeing that there's a link between my stolen blessings and her. And she was supposedly placed in the roach realm. I kept hearing about somebody that took over my body from Louisiana, Destrehan, that died in 2016. And took over my blessings. And, I remember seeing, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, on my soul consciousness, a mask of Zendaya. And some of my ancestors were actually showing me that at the time. But they took her out of her body for a bit. And then some weird shit happened where, I died. And I was actually shown it as well at the hands of, I was shown Alex Nacimento, along with, I'll show you how he looks. Satan, how you doing? They both took me, they both took me out of my body. And, I actually saw it through my third eye. And as a matter of fact, the next day, I went to my usual liquor store, to buy some, like, small item. I think, I feel something like fucking the same thing I heard about with Kanye West in the spirit plane. Astral body harvesting, some moving parts of my astral body in a very dramatic way where you can fucking feel it. You shouldn't be feeling it dramatically. But anyways, from what I understand with Kanye West, I I went to the liquor store, and the guy was very, very level-headed. And he says to me that he got a call from somebody sounding exactly like me over static, which is oftentimes the sign of a ghost. You know, my parents got killed by whatever entity took over my body in that timeline. They were given a black card or some shit like that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this right now. The night before, I was running in the park, and even before that, I saw in the astral plane this woman by the name of, I got a Veronica Gilgi of Jessica De La Torre or something, but Veronica Gilgi, Ashley Hampstead, her folks who were from Destrehan, who were with me during that whole time. This is when I was in jail, August 22nd, 2022. And I remember seeing them sign a soul contract. I got something evil right now fucking grabbing at me. They keep saying it's that fucking Native American shaman up there in Malibu, but I think it's that fucking guy who got roach attachments from the Illuminati. Use 614 hertz all the way up to 617 hertz as well as 7,000 hertz to remove roach attachments. But anyways, could be this guy I saw years ago who, very good looking guy, looked like an Alaskan Inuit, but he had a weird energy about him, and I ran his ass up the street. I didn't like that guy. And he was saying something about, it was something to the effect of, I'm trying to remember, you know, saying something like, you got powerful energy. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, I saw her family signing the soul contract with this Barbara the Roach attachment, which were part of the sacrifice angels that them evil motherfuckers, some fucking beanbags who drive a brown Range Rover, who were sitting up atop, you know, from what I understand, they work at Sam's Hawk Brow, or they own it or something. Or they, you know, kidnap kids. I got that for them to lead people up there. And their license plate number is S165SAB. So with that being said, they were sitting atop Sunset Mesa, and that's when I saw, while I was asleep, but it was like I was in the hypnagogic state, where I was asleep, and I could see all of these entities, you know, these sacrifice angels being implanted into my crown chakra. And I saw the Barbara Roach attachment, or entity attachment, coming in that looked just like that Ingrid Hybrid motherfucker who, she actually called me on the phone at the commencement of this curse. And I have the phone calls to confirm it, which I, you know, may post on my blog here. But this is how she looks from what I've seen of her. She came on the fucking PCH a long time ago, slapped me in the face or some shit like that. But that's how she looks. So with that said, the most telling of this curse was, I was running in the park in Santa Monica. I was staying at the Manor at the time. And that's where a lot of this, you know, curse had really commenced in full force, and I got taken out of my body. I forgot what room, but it was way to the back. But anyways, I was running in the park one night. I was drinking vodka at the time, I'm not going to lie, and I felt something right behind me slap somebody else's ancestral timelines on my back. So I knew something happened to where I was no longer in my body. And I felt weird the next day. I felt very, very, very weird. I didn't feel altogether there. And I kept seeing, I believe, my whole soul or something sticking out. Ass entities that's going to try to fuck with that, so, you know, just be careful with that. You know, these things try to intimidate me into silence, into not talking about wholly what's going on and telling the truth so I can get adequate spiritual help. You know, and like in the past with the Nacimento entity, you know, me and what little, you know, it's a child, some ghost versions of my ancestors and so forth. You know, I haven't been able to find them in the spirit plane. There's some young Mexican guys that were actually working on trying to find them and so forth. You know, supposedly the people who put this shit on me also watch it and they'll act on whatever they're told. You know, from what I understand, I kept getting Sainton or Zenu. I actually got visited by him. You know, and from what I learned from this curse, he's actually the second top in command to Sainton. I believe he might be Yah. Hold on a sec. That's the only way these evil motherfuckers could have gotten permission to put this shit on me and to just, you know, take from me and make me, as well as a bunch of other innocent fucking people, a sacrifice. You know, from what I've learned at the commencement of this curse, they got a guru system that's directly under God, as well as saints, and that's, you know, supposed to be giving, you know, giving out permission to folks, to, you know, energy vampires and shit to steal from fucking, you know, righteous people simply because they have strong spiritual abilities and powers. And they're supposed to be in the front to God or Saint or, but whatever the fuck they're under, it's supposed to be very controlling. With that being said, they're trying to get me to fucking forget something, but these entities keep fucking with something. I'm gonna say this right now, back in 2014, I actually got visited by this evil shit. And I told them point blank, I don't give you permission to do anything. I don't want to soul contract with y'all. I don't want to contract with y'all. I just want y'all going. And like I say, they watch my videos and they'll act on doing things to intimidate me into telling the full truth and into silence. And I hear right now in the fucking spirit plane, I don't like this shit. But anyways, with that being said, they had an Alex Nacimiento entity. You know, I'm happy that I got rid of him because, like, even in the fucking past, he would go after innocent people who would try to help me out or people who haven't done anything and make them people sacrifices without my permission. He set all that shit off with them people at that Santa Workday shop. You know, so he could set things off with making me a sacrifice with their Santa Workday, from what I'm understanding, and put me in their realm along with Mikey Hernandez's. Here, I'll show you the people. It's an entity that's a liability, and that's a shit starter and likes to cause problems. And, you know, from what I understand, you know, a lot of my spirit team, from my higher to higher self, him as well, they were all getting paid to look the other way. You know, and just like with Baron Samedi, they strew all of my ancestors all over the fucking place. It's a mess what's going on with me. That's why I do these videos, because in many ways, it's a cry for help. But anyways, with that being said, after a while, I'm guessing spiritually, after the fervor died down with your boy, Kanye West, them motherfuckers put him into what they call Kew Gardens in the astral plane, which is where, I guess, you know, it kind of reminds me of the case with this guy here. With Balenciaga, Isaac something. Very, very nice young man, it seems, and he had some of his stuff stolen by Balenciaga. And so, from what I understand, the same thing that was done to me was done to him. I love the way she's dressed. Where they took him out of his body, they got him drunk, they invited him to a Balenciaga store, some of the officials. You can look at that Michelle LeMay motherfucker and see for days, that's a fucking incarnated demon if I ever fucking seen one. That's a scary looking ass bitch. Just being in that motherfucker's orbit. You need fucking mega spiritual protection for that motherfucker. At one point I saw her and fucking Marina Abramovic. But anyways, with that, hey, I like the way you dress, sister. Fucking upper shirt, you know, I take a shower every single day, but my upper shirt fucking stinks and it smells like vomit. Oh, I'm being fucked with bad by this evil ass shit, man. I'm being fucked with really, really, really fucking bad. But anyways, they invited him to a store in Florida. And they told the young man they were going to compensate him, and they ended up taking him out of his body. And from what I understand, it kind of reminds me of what these motherfuckers do with this curse, which is that they'll place hell realms in your head. They'll have the fucking names are comical. The people of Walmart, which you think is innocuous, but is actually like entity attachments of them people that will come out and just viciously attack you. Wendy Williams, for instance, was placed in such a hell realm. And then you got, in his case, they took him and they placed him in somebody's consciousness, you know, in a hell realm, in which looks like the regular world, but isn't. You know, most people, when they die, they go into a person's consciousness, and I got word, supposedly it was in mine or something. It goes back to them people who put this curse on me. You know, it's some evil ass fucking shit. You know, I remember one night when I was looking at some of this shit, I kept seeing CIA, you know, a bunch of my higher selves huddled together, and CIA all around and shit. And I never permitted to any of this fucking fucked up ass shit. I didn't give my consent to none of this motherfucking shit. You know, I had not the greatest of all, but I had an alright relationship with what I had spiritually around. But I knew, because I was famous on the PCH world, rap topless. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Hey, beautiful. You know, being a topless rights advocate, and I was famous for it. And you know, from what I understand, that Alex Nacimento entity, come on, stop it, gave me my fame. They gave me my fame, but not my money. And I kept trying to figure out, why are there blocks on my money? You know, inexplicable blocks. Like, I couldn't, it's like I had to be under something. I was under something really, really strong. Turns out it was Alex Nacimento that was putting a tight hold, not even a strong hold, but a tight motherfucking hold on my money. I brought Waverlight, as a matter of fact, to try to liberate myself from it, but there's still this tight fucking energetic hold, a major fucking block that's blocking me from being able to make money. And I talked about it on my blog, and I'll show you. And I'm going to say this right now, that's a really sadistic ass entity, because he was out giving my blessings to other fucking people, enemies, like this Italian bitch I got into it with at Coronado Island, Danny's Palm Bar and Grill. I did an article about that in the past. So for a long time, you know, outside of Baron Samedi, which, you know, I mean, it's made a sacrifice under him, but it was nothing like this fucking shit where you ain't getting shit. It was never to this fucking degree where your shit's just stymied. But I do recall recently, it's something about when he came around, he saw Alex Nacimento and said, "Hey man, nice to see you again." Like, it's like a confluence of very evil, malevolent, malintent people combined with malintent spirits and entity attachments. It's a conflagration, which is a more apt saying for that created the perfect storm. Now, the reason why I was talking about Kanye West is because I want to talk about a dream I had in the dream state, you know, while I was being somewhat put back together. I had a dream in which I was a thin white woman wearing jet black hair like an Angelica Houston back in the day, that actress. And I was wearing a jet black dress. And they had not Jeremy Irons, but what's that boy who plays in The Bear? Jeremy something. Jeremy Allen White. And Pedro Pascal, it was Jeremy Allen White. And from what I understand, him and Pedro Pascal are both under Satan. With that being said, I was reaching out to him as well as a bunch of other celebrities saying that whoever is in my body, and this, I feel that based on what I've seen, that this timeline is real. When I got taken out of my body on August 22nd, 2022, I got replaced. And I was trying to reach out and tell them that I'm no longer in my body and I got removed. And that whatever you see that's operating in my body is not me. You know, the personality ain't consistent. That's not me. And I was trying to reach out for help. And I've actually had a couple of dreams. I remember one, I was a reporter, and it's funny too because when I was in college, I wanted to be a reporter. And so it was very, very vivid, like I was looking at somebody's memories rather than a dream. And in it, I was telling the person that, it was an Indian guy with the BBC, and he had approached me for an interview, and I said point blank, he said to me point blank, "You ain't got no credentials. How the fuck did you become famous?" From what I understand, this woman who took over my body in that August 22nd, 2022 timeline got a black card from the Illuminati. The only time you get a black card is if for human trafficking. Blue card if you're doing like oration. Like for instance, that Matrice Colors woman with that Black Lives Matter. They actually had an organic group who started it. And they got replaced and removed. And the credit was given... Hey, sir, how you doing? The credit was given to them to take over. And this Patrice McCullers got the credit for commencing the movement. She has a blue card from the Illuminati for speaking. They'll usually give it to an Adolf Hitler. By the way, Adolf Hitler was a free agent. He had his shit protected by his ancestors. One thing I gotta say good about that man is he rose from homelessness out of nowhere. That man did not work with them motherfuckers, I don't think. He was a free agent. And he was a very smart man. He saw what the fuck they were all about and what was coming. And we all saw, because, like, look, Kanye West said it, and I'm going to say it right now. That guy, John Lerman, in that transcript, when he saw God, skin the color of bronze. That's black. The true Israelites are black. They're black. And with that being said, I'm going to show you this video of ancient Israel, going back to the 1800s. You're going to see nothing but, or Palestine, Israel, where Israel stands. You see nothing but black faces in that motherfucker. One white face. Jesus and all of them came from the Levant, which is around Iraq, Egypt. So when they trace the ancestry of the so-called Jewish, because they wish they were the true Jews, but they're not, them white motherfuckers you see, they're actually Slavic Southern Europeans. They got nothing to do with us. They are not the true Jews. That as somebody who has a great-great-grandmother who's a German Jew. I have nothing against them people. I have nothing against them people. But spade is a spade, and I feel that that's why blacks face so much torment on earth. And I talked about it on my blog here a long time ago. It's a lot of truth-telling going on in this video, and I feel something around me right now that's trying to fuck with my spiritual body. They're probably going to use Tobas of my spirit guide that they made to fuck with me and fuck with y'all as well. That's why I say 694 hertz, 925 hertz are your friends. There's also another hertz, too, that you can use. So, with that being said, in the past, right, there were actually a bunch of dreams that I had. I was reaching out. There were a couple of other visions. I was even shown the memories of the person who occupied my body. And they were living in LA and all of that. And some of my ancestors, my British ancestors, I think I got 31% British, were trying to get me back. And some of them were under Baron Samedi. With that being said, I'm just going to say it like this. I remember there was another one where I saw a woman occupying my body. And I had one of my higher to highest selves who was showing me, spirit guides or whatever, showing me, how I got sacrificed, the celebrities I got sacrificed. Zendaya was like the most prominent along with Madonna. Her ass, her higher self, is the most selfish and tenacious. She rapes them little African girls that you see are in her possession. She'll tell them, I want to lick your cat for 30 minutes and then send them over to her dogs to be licked on. Madonna, an evil ass bitch. I never liked her. And for a long time, a lot of her shit was protected by God. So, we have to start questioning who the fuck God is. When I was looking up Quetzalcoatl, he makes the sacrifices, but when you read the Old Testament, that's all God does. And I'm going to say something as well. I learned during this curse that God actually has two faces. He has a dragon version of himself. That's the demiurge, or Yod the Baal, that has the body of a lion and the head, body of a dragon and the head of a lion, kind of similar to a Quetzalcoatl. But I don't think he's as bad. But nobody has to make the sacrifices because they sacrificed Jesus. And it's a long fucking story, about the story of Jesus. He actually was a person that existed. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but him and Mary were made caricatures of themselves. They were placed in the roach realm. They were killed in their sleep, which happens to a lot of true tellers who tell the truth behind what's going on with reality. It actually happened to Mark Zuckerberg, who learned from an Indian mystic the nature of reality, just a small modicum of what I know now. And what I'm telling y'all, the next thing you know, they X'd that man out. They got rid of him. It goes all the way up to the top. You got in the astral plane corporations where you get your consciousness and all that shit from. I talked about the Relish Corporation. I nearly died in my sleep. I could feel something crunching me and every fucking thing else and crunching my consciousness. And I talked about it. There were actually 80s films that would talk about it and talk about how people would buy their memories, aspects of themselves and so forth and so on in the astral plane before you reincarnate into a new body. And I'm all fucked up, man. I'm all fucked up. I got this shit intimidating me into silence, into not saying anything. I ran across that and I really started getting fucked up. The nature of reality runs very, very deep. So with that being said, I got thrown out of my timeline. And I haven't been able to get back. Let me try to think, because this shit is hostile, very, very hostile. It's making it extremely hard for me to think. I remember having buku memories and visions that I'm no longer in my body and that I got replaced. This is some evil ass shit. Yeah, so with that being said, I saw numerous times that I'm no longer in my body. And that I got replaced, and that a lot of my astral body parts, along with spiritual powers and blessings especially, are being funneled to a different place. And I wouldn't be